Nintendo has done something that is astonishing, surprising, and also tragic. They have released a console that everybody wants. They've released a great console, the Nintendo Switch. They have taken the power of a console and the portability of a handheld device and merged them together to create a handheld console device that everybody wants, but they can't make it. Now, to give you some backstory to Nintendo has been on the decline for the past couple of years, specifically with the release of the Wii U. That was a flop. That was a huge flop. Nintendo knows it's a flop. Everybody knows it was a flop. Everybody also knows that it was a horrible, horrible console. But that's not what I'm here to discuss. Nintendo knew that the Wii U was a failing console, and they didn't necessarily want to invest all of their money, all of their resources into the Nintendo Switch, which is why they came out with the Mini NES. But the problem with the Mini NES and the Nintendo Switch is that they didn't put all of their eggs in one basket, and they can't keep up with the demand of both the Mini NES and specifically the Nintendo Switch. And because they can't keep up with the demand of the Nintendo Switch, we pay for it. Not me specifically, but we as gamers pay for it. And specifically, the people that can fork over the $450, around there-ish, for the Nintendo Switch. Maybe $460. Now, not even $460, $470. Now, I know some of you are saying, what? The Switch is valued at $470? You're a fucking idiot. The Nintendo Switch is not a $470 console. It's a $300 console. I'm so glad you asked that. I'm so glad you just told me that. I'm so glad you had that thought. The Nintendo Switch, yes, at its market price, is $300. It's $299. But let's look at Nintendo's retailers. Let's look at the distributors of their products. Now, let's go on Nintendo's website. It's supposed to, according to Nintendo's website, it's marketed and valued at about $300. And Amazon, the god tier, probably one of the best retailers on the planet for anything you want to buy, has it valued at $378. And you want to know the almost $100 more than its retail price of $299. $378, excuse me if I said $389. But the Nintendo Switch, the ironic thing of the Amazon price range is that it's the best price range for the Nintendo Switch among Nintendo's retailers. Let's look at some other ones. Let's look at some other ones. Best Buy has the Nintendo Switch at $299, right? It's market price. You would think that, oh my gosh, you were wrong, 24. Look at it more closely. The Nintendo Switch on Best Buy's website is sold out. On GameStop's website, GameStop has done something ingenious almost. They have bundled the Nintendo Switch up with games and other products that you have to buy to get the Nintendo Switch. Things that you may or may not have bought with the Nintendo Switch, you now have to buy. Right? So the Nintendo Switch, with the game, with some accessories, is valued at about $400, right? And we haven't even gone into tax. It's probably about 10% of the of the game, the taxes, or the console. So you know that it's probably going to be $420, $440. And we haven't even started to talk about the games, right? The games are about $60. So you know that the $440, $430 plus 60 is probably going to be around $500, depending on where you get it. If you get it on Amazon, right? Like, let's say you get it on Best Buy, the 10% tax, the $440 plus the $60, it may be close to $500 for the damn game, for the damn console right now on GameStop. But on Amazon, it could probably be somewhere around maybe $480, $470, $460. $460 would probably be a really conservative estimate, in all honesty. But let's keep on going down the list. Let's keep on going down the list of their retailers. Walmart has the Nintendo Switch valued at about $397. Toys R Us has the Switch at $299. But like Best Buy, the Switch is sold out. Let's go and look at their last retailer. Now, Target is an interesting retailer, right? Because Target doesn't even have the Switch on their page. Either the link is broken or the link sends you to the wrong page. But the Nintendo Switch, according to... but the Nintendo Switch, on Nintendo's legitimate website for the Nintendo Switch, on its retailers part of the website, the Nintendo Switch doesn't even have a page for Target. And this is Nintendo's legitimate retailer for the Nintendo Switch in the US. My point is, with the Nintendo Switch, is that the console right now is not being able to keep up with the demand of the consoles. The supply is too low. They keep on selling out of the console everywhere. And the problem I think I have with what's going on, not necessarily with the console itself, but with everything surrounding the console, is that there's not enough products for the console. I mean, you have people that are able to fork over the $460, $70 to $500. Right now, they're like, Nintendo, I have the money, I can buy the console right now. They can't get the console. They can't buy the console. Why? There's no units. There's no actual units for the console. And the problem is, right now with the Nintendo Switch, is that you have consoles like the PS4 Slim and the Xbox One Slim that are significantly cheaper than the Nintendo Switch. The PS4 Slim is $269 and the Xbox One is $249. So you have a better price. You have almost a $100 to $200 difference than the Nintendo Switch from its competitors. And the problem is that both the PS4 and the Xbox One are starting to enter their twilight years. They're starting to enter the end of their lifespan. Sony always releases a new console every 6 years. And it's all started from 1994 when they released the PS4. In 2000, at the turn of the millennium, they released the PS2. In 2006, they released the PS3. In 2013, they released the PS4. So about every 6 years, they've released a new console. It's the 4th year. This is probably when they're starting to develop the console itself, starting to come up with ideas, maybe for a new controller, maybe for the look of the design, maybe they've decided on a topic or focus for the PS4. The same thing goes with Microsoft. So you know that they're going to have a new console idea, and they're probably going to be able to produce and make a new console produce and release a new console by 2019, 2020, around there. And it's 2017. So in the next 2 to 3 years, Sony and Microsoft are going to be able to have a new console. And by that point in time, the Nintendo Switch is competing with the PS4 and the Xbox One right now. And they're at a competitive price advantage, the PS4 and the Xbox One. And the Nintendo Switch is able to compete with them. It won't compete with the next generation of consoles, which is 2 to 3 years away. And my point being this, is that Nintendo has to get their consoles sold today, right now, or else the newest iteration of whatever it's going to be called, whatever it may be, the PS5 or the Xbox 2, whatever they're going to be called, will blow the Nintendo Switch out of the water. And especially if Sony or Microsoft comes out with a portable console like the Nintendo Switch, but more powerful than the Nintendo Switch. This has been 24. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe for more. Sorry that my upload schedule has been a little bit released. There hasn't been really interesting to talk about. I will try and scour the internet for things to talk about, but I thought that today's video would kind of be a little bit interesting. I hope you have a fantastic day. If you're going to buy a Switch, wait for a couple of months. They'll probably have. Don't buy the Switch that's valued almost over $100. It's $100 more expensive. That's not worth it. You can buy almost 2 games with that, with the money that you're spending on getting the Switch now. Just wait. So that's all I gotta say on that. I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time.